Hello and welcome back to the Only Swans Podcast, where this week we are absolutely bouncing because it is time to dream, I think. How are you, Carwyn?
I'm not great, actually, because, we're filming early in the day, so there's no golden boy.
Yeah, that is true. Although if you're feeling not great about the fact there's no alcohol, you might want to get some help.
I mean, Michu did once say, people drink here and very early in the day, so, we could
It's 20
maybe...
to 2. If you're that desperate for a golden boy, then
Well, nah, usually it's 7 p.m. when we're filming, it's a bit more acceptable, but
Yeah.
a Monday at 2 p.m. might be a bit
Yeah.
wrong.
You can tell a student's mind, can't you? Filming on a Monday at 2 p.m.
Where's the job?
Yeah, exactly. No, but as I say, this week we are absolutely bouncing. I mean, 5 points off the playoffs. I think is it time to start dreaming?
I don't know just yet. I think, we put out a tweet yesterday, didn't we, about it? I mean, anything's possible. I think the Championship's one of them this season where really anyone could break in. You see Wrexham up there at the moment, Hull, who by all means should be in the relegation zone based on stats pretty much. So
They don't like it when you say that, though.
No.
They don't like it when you point out the sort of anomaly that they are, let's put it that way. But no, I think it is it's a weird league. It always is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd love to dream, but there's 10 teams going for one spot, and ultimately we are the worst placed of them at the moment. There's a big gap between Millwall in 5th and Wrexham in 6th. It's 6 points. And we still have some ground to make up. But if we get 2 wins out of the next 3, Derby, Preston and Bristol City are all very much in the mix. 2 good results against them, and it's impossible to not think we'll be in the mix-up. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I just don't think you can write it off. We don't really know the ceiling of this squad yet. I think there's still a lot to come from a lot of them. I've seen a lot of people sort of suggest that we aren't ready for the playoffs, but I don't think there's such thing as being ready for the playoffs. You look at teams like Sunderland and Brentford who have gone up in the last few years, and they lost in the playoffs before they went up in the playoffs. So, every team needs that experience, and who knows, I think the Championship's actually back to that sort of the Championship's the unpredictable league, the league where anyone can beat anyone. So why couldn't that be the case in the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, in the era of like parachute payment dominance, there's a world where a parachute team is relegated 2 years in a row, which, I mean, if Leicester go down, it's just crazy, isn't it? It's partly because of a points deduction, but they are looking sort of seriously all over the place at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think there is an opportunity this year for a side to really, just a well-run club to go on a bit of a charge and sort of try and crash the top 6.
Yeah.
I just feel we have slightly too much ground to make up.
Yeah, I don't think we're ready for it in terms of like actually getting there yet. I think there's just too much between us and them. If Vito Matos had came in a few games before he did, I think maybe there was an opportunity to get in, but I don't think. I just see too many teams who are sort of maybe a little bit of a level above us at the moment. Teams like Millwall who can just grind out results. There's so much between us and them, and fighting for that 6th spot's never ideal, is it?
Who do you think it'll be at the moment?
I think it will be Wrexham.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
They're looking really, really good at the moment.
If they want us to, go up through the playoffs, I'd like to see Millwall go up. I don't know. I'd like to see how they would sort of approach the Premier League.
I mean, they've never been there before, have they? Which obviously Hull have a few years ago. Ipswich have not long ago at all. I'd like to see Millwall. I think it would be something.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good laugh. If
bit
anything,
different.
Wouldn't it? Yeah.
I mean, the funniest outcome is surely Millwall go up and West Ham go down because they'd be desperate to play each other in the Prem. And
then they swap round again the next season.
Yeah, they would 100%. But I think, there's too much of a gap between us and the top 6 at the moment in terms of the amount of teams. There's just so much traffic in the way. But at the same time, when Vito Matos came in, it was 21st will be a good result. Yeah. And now look where we are.
Yeah. And I think it's nice to be able to have these questions again mid-season instead of it being, well, look forward to next season now if we get some good players in the summer, which is the usual thing. I mean, you look when Alan Sheehan came in last season, that was the situation. It was just keep us up. The season before, it was just Luke Williams keep us up mid-table, and it's been this cycle for years and years and years. So it's nice to at least have a little bit of hope, if anything.
And we always do a lot better in the back half of the season than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, partly because we're often playing for nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why not? Why won't we get better? At the end of the day, the more and more time Matos spends on the training ground with these players, the better and better it seems to get. So I think it would be stupid not to at least consider it. I mean, 2-3 weeks ago, probably, I'd say that Hull, when we lost to Hull, I was going up there thinking, oh, well, this season's probably already over. We're not going up. We're not going down.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, 2 good results since we last spoke, which is definitely the first time that's happened, that we've won both games since we last spoke.
And the first time we filmed the podcast in 2 weeks in a row for a long time.
Is, I mean, the fact we've had those 2 good results in a row have brought us right back in it. And that's all it takes in this league.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've looked really good in those 2 games as well. Should we start talking about the Watford game?
I think so. Bit of a strange situation. A club who just crashed out as a result of it, really. I mean, we're recording today. They're about to appoint Will Still's brother.
Yeah.
Which I cannot wrap my head around. It's the most Watford thing ever, isn't it?
It's very strange. And I mean, I think that game did really cause one of the craziest crash outs I've seen between Aaron Kounders just completely spat the dummy out, started going nuts because he got pushed, and then oh God, some of the stuff I read their fans saying on Twitter about Garcia was bleak. And I mean, in terms of our own performance, I didn't think we were necessarily pretty to watch, or it was hardly a enjoyable game. Definitely not one for the neutral. But I think that's just got to be away from home sometimes. I don't care how we look away from home as long as we look good home.
Yeah. Well, I kind of felt we were very unfortunate to come out of the Stoke, Coventry and Hull games, especially with 0 points. And for us to sort of break that duck on the road, it kind of felt like it was going to be a bit of a not rubbish performance, but a bit of a sort of grind.
It was a bit scrappy, wasn't it? You know, we hadn't won an away game in 2026 and we'd only won 1 under Matos prior. And I think, the goals were just 2 well-worked goals, a nice flick on by Vipotnik for an easy tap and for Tymon, and then
I don't think it was going in. I don't know why you were so angry.
I don't think it was either. I do think it's rogue to be a bit angry about that. But
I mean, I suppose
you said you want your striker to be like that.
Yeah, he's going for the golden boot, isn't he? So I think I get it, but I don't think it was going in.
No, I think that was curling out. And I think it's good instincts from Tymon anyway to be at that back post to tap it in. And then same with Josh Key.
But you can look at our first phase of set pieces. It's hitting Vipotnik's head quite often when he's at the front post.
Yeah.
And we've scored a goal from that against Watford. We scored a similar goal against Millwall when Cabango taps in the back post. I assume it was Vipotnik first contact. I'm not 100% sure.
Maybe in Burgess.
Possibly. But somebody at the front post.
Yeah.
And Vipotnik scored a goal against Blackburn in exactly the same way on his own. I mean, I think you can put Matos' transformation down to our now quite strong ability from set pieces.
Yeah.
Pre-Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, 5 of our last 7 goals had come from set pieces. We were dreadful at them under Alan Sheehan. Yeah. And now we're good.
A set piece coach as well, which is even
that's the weirder thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We were the worst team in the league when it came to set pieces, both attacking and I think defensively as well. And Matos has come in and sorted it right out.
Yeah.
And made us a real threat, which we should be.
Yeah. I think he's made us good at the fundamentals of the game. If you look at a team like Arsenal now, right, and everyone hates Arsenal, but what I love about Arsenal, what I love about Arsenal is they've stripped football back to its basics. They're one of the best teams in the world, but they play just the English game, don't they? Long throw-ins, goal every set piece. It's like watching Sunday League at points, but it's nice to not see constant, just like Pep Guardiola, the team sat back against them, they're making 500 passes a game and they can't break them down, which has been, sort of the system of the English leagues for a few years now.
Oh, I did like in the Watford game, I did like the fact that Gracia just has completely thrown his toys out the pram. He faced Matos and decided, this isn't for me anymore. But
Matos going on the pitch too, I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, got booked for that.
Yeah, I know. I think they
have to, don't they?
And the ref did kind of need a fall guy after the entire breakout.
Yeah.
You had translator in there giving it large.
I thought that was so good. Him and Joel Ward just front and centre of this brawl.
Two men who never thought they'd meet,
Yeah.
going to war.
No, I thought that was brilliant. And it kind of shows how much the club gets under everyone's skin in a way, doesn't it? And Joel Ward as well. Obviously, only been here a couple of weeks. So to get as involved as he clearly has already, that was great fun. I was delighted for Josh Key as well.
Yeah, it's nice to see him get a goal. I mean, he's had a really tough time, hasn't he? And I think he could be useful on the wing. I'm going to be honest. I don't think his issues were ever attacking problems. I think his issues were always just defending. He's clearly not a good defender of the byline, but he can get forward. That's we've seen plenty of good Josh Key goals in our time. So
I think getting him further away from our own goal is probably the best thing for him at the moment, because ultimately he probably doesn't give the ball away any more than Ronald on the same side as him.
No, but them both together is catastrophic alone.
And also, if he's given the ball away further up the pitch, it doesn't really matter as much as if he's given the ball away at the same rate.
In his own defence.
In his own, as part of the back line, which against Hull obviously came on at right back and had a really, really tough time of things. Yeah. Whereas I think against Watford obviously came on and had a much better impact on the wing and did well for that goal. To get into that area, it wasn't, it was almost like striker's instincts to finish.
Yeah.
But I think there is potentially a role going forward for him on the wing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why I put the post out, because to be honest, I think we've said it before. I mean, Luke Williams did compare him to Gareth Bale once upon a time. So
that felt a little bit over the top.
Yeah, maybe, but I wouldn't write it off. And at the end of the day, I don't think our wing options are good enough to write it off. I think there is room for him to win a spot there.
I still reckon he probably goes in the summer.
No, he will. I think he's a really good League One level player, and I think he should go back there probably. And
some ambitious League One club.
Yeah, exactly.
For him, I think.
A Bolton or something if they aren't to go up all day.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there is definitely a player in there, and we've seen that here. That's probably the biggest argument against signing a right back is playing back into form.
Yeah, there have been periods where Josh Key has been brilliant. I think there's always been questions of whether he's a backup or a starter, but I think that was more down to injury worries, which we've seen a lot this season. I mean, he's had plenty of injuries, but I think there were points under Luke Williams where he was brilliant. I think there were points where Tymon was the fall guy more than Josh Key was, which really says something because...
Well, we'll move on to Tymon because his improvement under Matos has just been... I mean, he was already a good player for us. He has looked like a Premier League level fullback.
He is excellent. Matos came in. He was a really shrewd pickup, I think. I think he's just so good on the ball. And, he's just exciting to watch. I don't think we have many players who can whip a ball like him. I mean, none of our wingers can, that's for sure. But, even yesterday in that Sheffield Wednesday game, his ball in for the first is fantastic.
Yeah, no, he made some fantastic deliveries over the past few weeks. And yesterday was a brilliant example of it. To find Franco the way he did was just brilliant.
It's just the way he can bomb down the line and he can whip it from so close to the byline and it still curves in. He's excellent. He's so good.
He's got one of the best deliveries I've ever seen and just consistent as well.
I think he's a luxury player. Like, there are so many people I've sort of had debates with in the past who have said, well, he's not a good defender, but I think, they're older people who want a more traditional fullback as such, but he's such a luxury player because whatever he can't do at the back, he completely makes up for every time going forward in build-up play. He's just excellent.
He's also so unbelievably fit to just be up and down the wing for 90 minutes every week without fail.
Yeah.
Basically never misses a game.
No.
It's like we've, a brilliant pro as well. Obviously keeps himself in great condition.
Well, it's exactly what we said at the start of the season, isn't it? When we signed Ishe Samuel-Smith, we said... this guy probably won't get a game, and he's had 3-4, a few in a cup and one against Millwall.
Yeah, and that's well, as you said, in an ideal world, he never plays, isn't it? And that's because of just how important to us Tymon is, and I think the other player who's obviously taken a step up since Matos came in. Well, I think you can make an argument for two. One of them came on yesterday, which is Jay Fulton.
Yeah.
I think he deserves a lot of love.
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
proved a hell of a lot of people wrong.
I think we'll still be sat here in probably about 10, 15 years saying another new man just come in, but Jay Fulton's still starting in midfield, because no matter what people say about him on social media, no matter what a manager thinks of him, I mean, there's been one or two who have tried to, sort of ship him out to League One and stuff. He always manages to find his way back into the fold in a completely new role, to be fair. I think, we've seen him play 6, we've seen him play 8, we've even seen him play 10 under Russell Martin. Yeah, I think he will always be such a talented footballer with just such a diverse skill set. There's so many different things that Jay Fulton can do. And I mean, it's probably why the man who should not be named enjoyed playing next to him so much, a certain man who went off to Coventry, just because he is such a good footballer.
I saw a couple of Coventry fans clamouring for him, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, I saw that too. Mac, we don't have a good 6. Loved playing next to him.
Yeah, I just think... no, I think he is a brilliant player and obviously an absolute model pro. I thought he was done at this level. I really did.
Yeah.
I thought once we brought in all these, midfielders over the summer, brought in, what was it, at least 4. I thought that's it for Fulton now. He's finally, this is his time to wind down, perhaps go to League One. And he's back, and he's arguably better than he's been in years at the moment.
Yeah. No, he looks excellent. It's honestly such a strange phenomenon now. He just keeps getting better and better. When you think he's done, he just always rises up again.
But that just shows, obviously, how hard he works on the training ground, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Obviously keeps himself in excellent condition. He's a complete example to every player in the group. I mean, I don't think there are any players in the group at the moment who stick out as having bad attitudes or whatever. Matos has certainly changed my perception of a few players.
Yeah.
But every single one's in the group, even the ones with brilliant attitudes, they could all learn from Jay Fulton.
Yeah. Do you think he's a cult hero or a legend?
See how the season ends, is it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I always find the sort of barrier between them rogue, the way people define them.
It's always just been a tedious debate.
It is, isn't it? But personally, I'd always go legend. I think a cult hero is more somebody who sort of played 50, 60 games, was brilliant. Like when Jay Fulton's chucked out like 300 odd games, been here for nearly a decade. Like, you've got to argue at that point, like, he is a club legend.
Yeah. I mean, and if he's not, he's the ultimate of servants.
He's the highest cult hero there is, I suppose.
But no, I think he's been a wonderful servant to us over the years and just continues to prove people wrong. I mean, there's still the odd person you see who'll go, "Oh, that Fulton, he's not up to anything," and I just don't understand it anymore. He clearly just, every manager rates him, so he must be doing something right.
I think our fans are a bit like that with absolutely anyone. There's always somebody who dislikes somebody.
I also think with players in his role, unless you're often watching closely, it can be quite hard to
I don't
judge,
think they have many fans, number 6. The dirty work players never do. And I think it's one of them where Franco was rated last season, doing, a tiny bit of a similar role, just because he's a bit faster. Maybe he's Portuguese, which always helps when you're not just
It's my classic thing. Darling, I was the same. I still believe this to this day. No.
I thought it was going to be that theory.
No, I wasn't going there, don't worry.
Theory.
Is the fact they get up and pump their arms after making a tackle.
It is, yeah.
If you just go about your business, people won't appreciate what you're doing. If you really show that you're tackling someone, get up, pump your arms, wave yourself around like a sort of...
It's like every time Bruno Guimaraes used to win a throw-in or something, he'd jump up in the air and go nuts at Newcastle.
It's just so, performative.
It's like my genre of least favourite player, I reckon. Just get up and get back to work. That's why people...
I don't want to, go full Roy Keane, it's just your job type thing. But, just go about your job. Don't need to do all this pumping your
If it's the
arms
last
in
few
the air.
minutes and you want to give the fans a bit of a G
100%.
over, you do it every single tackle.
5th minute, 4-0 down. Or, bad example, but, he's just pumping her arms in the air. Just do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job. Roy Keane was spot on.
I don't know about that.
And the other big improvement, obviously, was already playing well, is Vipotnik. He's even better than he was under Sheehan, under Matos.
Yeah, he is.
His all-round play is what's surprising me as well.
He just looks like he can affect the game a bit more. I think under Sheehan, it was one of them where if he didn't score, he didn't do much. But I think he does a lot more now. He's picking up a few assists. I mean, we already discussed how he's a focal point on pretty much every set piece. It's really impressive. I mean, he's turned into almost a completely different player. And I know, we both had our doubts about him on this podcast, 100%. But I don't think anyone could have quite predicted that he would be this much better from last season. And if anyone says they did,
I would just
then they're just not telling the truth.
It would have just been blind faith,
blind optimism, yeah. Mm-hmm. To see a man just that big, sort of, because he's like a big brute, to be, very tidy on the ball now, pretty decent in link up compared to what he used to be. It's really impressive. And I mean, he's so much fitter as well. He can really run about now, whereas last season he looked shattered after one sprint.
Yeah. Oh, he's clearly got a lot fitter because he's leading the press in a way that I never thought he'd be capable of. I feared for him a little bit when Matos came in at first because of what we expected Matos to do, which is obviously what has come to fruition. But he's completely stood up and been counted. Yeah, and I think maybe a bit early to talk about it, but I think he will be due a big move at the end of the season. 100%. I think there'll be serious money thrown about for him. Whether he'll succeed or not is another question. But I mean, he's still not quick. But if he was quick, then he certainly wouldn't be playing at this level.
I've really grown on him, and I've started to like him quite a lot. I think. I do hope if he is to leave, he goes to a league like the Serie A where he can genuinely succeed. I'd hate to see him go to the Premier League because I think it's really not his league.
It's a bit like what we've seen with Perot, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly the same. And I think I said at the time when we sold Perot, if he went to the Serie A, like he would be the best player in the league.
Yeah, I think they need someone like Vipotnik would need that slightly slower pace. Yeah. But if he went to Serie A, good God, would he score goals?
Oh, 100%. He'd be a cult hero, I suppose.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that extra half second you get on the ball there, he would really thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
And I think a top Serie A club should take a chance on him.
And just the goals he scores, like they're so exciting for a fan, innit? Like, I mean, if we talk about that free kick yesterday, like he just boots it at the keeper.
Just a ridiculous way to take a free kick.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff people score against me in Sunday League. Like the big fat bloke steps up for a free kick. He hasn't done it in anything all game, but then he can just whack one top corner.
I mean, I've never seen somebody who can kick the ball as hard as he can.
No.
It's
crazy.
Really can't think of anybody.
After I saw that goal yesterday, I was searching what the record was for fastest goal in football because it was like light speed.
Yeah, literally. I just can't. I cannot believe. I mean, we'll talk about the Sheffield Wednesday game in more detail, but just the way he hit that free kick. I mean, you could see what was going to happen. It was he stood. He went for that run up where he was stood about 10 feet back from the ball.
Yeah.
And there was only one thing he was going to do. There was never going to be any technique.
I always look back on, was it against Plymouth where he just scored that absolute screamer? Like, the goals he scores are just so ridiculous. And there's someone you expect from, like, a little tricky attacking midfielder. Like Walter, for example, who, like, a lot of the goals I've seen from Walter have been just outside of the box. He's booted it, sort of thing. But Vipotnik, he sort of picks up the ball deep, just turns his defender and just whacks it. Like,
we saw a glimpse last season, didn't we, with that Derby goal?
Yeah.
But this season, the goal yesterday. I mean, the keeper, obviously, you could probably make an argument that the keeper should do
probably
better.
Should.
But at the same time, you're on -7 points. You're going down.
He may have not even seen it, to be honest.
Why would you throw yourself in front of that? Just let it go.
Break your arm.
Yeah. Just let hope it goes over.
Yeah. I always look back on that Joel Perot goal at Blackpool, right? Because we compare them as players, Joel Perot. And
I think it's a fair comparison.
I always look back on that goal he scored against Blackpool at home. I thought it was one of the most ridiculous goals I've ever seen. The way he just sort of cuts, takes one touch, bangs it top left. And I thought that'd be one of the best goals I'd ever seen. But I think Vipotnik's done it about 6 times this season, maybe, where he's just scored screamer after screamer. Both those goals he scored against Norwich earlier on in the season, for example. Like, it's just so fun to watch. I think for years our fans have sort of been crying out for a few more long shots, and they, when you're in the ground, people just scream and shoot. I think it's literally like, I'd love to know how many goals we've scored from outside the box. It must be the majority.
But it's like in any other season, the first goal we scored yesterday would have been a goal of the season contender.
Yeah.
We scored, it probably wasn't even goal of the day because of that free kick.
No, I know. I think if we go on to Sheffield Wednesday now, obviously it's hard to sort of judge it and look at it because they are just so bad. You kind of want to be like, we've just won a game 4-0, but you've got a sort of
Michael Owen was ringing around my head. The well done, he's 30.
Yeah, sort of like it is Sheffield Wednesday, but 4 brilliantly taken goals. We've already talked about the first one, unbelievable. Vipotnik's free kick, fantastic. I thought his next goal was really well taken too.
I thought he'd messed it up at first. I really did.
But sort of clean that up and finish it was very good. And then, Yalkue's goal, nice to see him get a goal. And I think, again, I thought it was really well taken.
Took that very well. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a moment where I thought he'd taken one touch too many, but he pulled it back on his weak foot as well.
Yeah.
He's not a lefty and still finished it brilliantly.
But I did see a tweet and it was so funny. It was a Sheffield Wednesday fan screen grabbed like a moment from his goal, and he was like, "Well, you'd think this is offside, but our left back's like 20 meters backwards. They are such a mess." Like,
I mean, I feel something. They obviously lost now. Like, I think it's 10 games in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have a coach in Henrik Pedersen who basically stepped up to take the job because no one else would. I still don't think the squad should be as bad as what we saw yesterday.
I mean, they've got some right players. Like we know what Lowe can do. I mean,
we know what Yates can do as well, but for better and for worse.
But for them, it surely can't be too bad. But yeah, they
looked hopeless. I don't know what
some of them couldn't touch the ball down. No. Like it genuinely looked like watching a Sunday League side with 1 or 2 tidy players. Like
I had a hell of a shock when Bruno Fernandes came on.
You can see why Barry Bannon kind of had to escape that. I think, club legend or not, I think it gets to a point where you're looking around you and you're seeing a bunch of close to amateur players, and you think
he is 36 wearing the number 67 shirt though.
Yeah, questions need to be asked. I don't care whether that's for your child or what. Maybe we don't want Millwall to go up after that, to be honest. How have the EFL even allowed him to wear that?
The EFL have allowed players to start wearing 99.
Yeah.
I mean,
strange.
Is the game gone?
The game might be back. Maybe we're turning into the Serie A. You never know.
The game, I cannot get behind players wearing number 99. It's ridiculous. Why has this become allowed all of a sudden?
I think 6-7 should be banned anyway. There's no way.
Did you see what Wickham did on the weekend? They showed like a 6-7 graphic on the big screen on the 67th minute.
Everyone around the ground was going nuts. Although like 15 fans.
Horrendous. The game might be gone.
Terrible.
But ultimately, against Sheffield Wednesday, we had to turn up and do the business. And there's a lot of sides that have huffed and puffed against them this season.
I think it's one of those games where a lot of teams would go into it just thinking, it's already 3 points and they'd only win it 1-0. To come out of that game with 4 goals, a pretty clean performance, it's very good.
There's a lot of sides who've, beaten them 1-0 and what have you. Over the last couple of weeks especially, they've been quite solid. But, I mean, perhaps we should caveat it with the fact they did play midweek, and we obviously didn't. And, I mean, when you've got a squad as thin as they have, playing midweek is going to cause us issues.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we had to turn up and do what we did. And I didn't think we were that great in the first half. And then second half, obviously, wore them down massively. It was we kind of played down to their level a little bit in the first half, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it's just one of them where you get the job done, get out, and we've claimed 6 points from them. That's all you need to do, because we sort of always make that joke where we'll be the team that'll lose to Sheffield Wednesday.
And there is always that worry in the back of your mind before.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice that we have claimed 6 points from them this season, and pretty convincingly both times, I suppose.
And I think previous iterations of Swansea City sides probably would have dropped points.
I think a Russell Martin side may not have beaten them. As much as I am a fan of Russell Martin, I think that is definitely a game we'd lose under him.
I can so see them beating Coventry.
Yeah, that would be good fun. They have really fallen off a cliff, and
it's awful, isn't it?
I think I'd celebrate that more than us getting in the playoffs. If they don't go up,
there's a world where we face them.
Yeah,
in the playoffs. Imagine we came 6th and they came 3rd,
and we knocked them out. I think I'd be on the pitch, honestly.
yeah, I think it would be potentially stadium bans for a few people for that one.
So a few people doing the Jack Grealish and the Derby.
No. We can't. Obviously, we don't promote that. But at the same time, I would love to knock Coventry out of the playoffs as much as anything in the world.
Some nice wordplay there, knockout.
Yeah, not physically, just beat them at the sport of association football.
But yeah, I do very much hope they drop out of the playoffs. They drop out of the automatics.
Well, the way things are going at the moment.
I watched the Oxford game, and Frank Lampard completely lost his head in his post-match press conference. I think he was like almost disgusted that the team at
it wasn't an Ian Holloway
head
loss, though, was it?
No.
If you want to find me, good.
The team that sat in were at the bottom of the table. He was livid that a team who were sat like 22nd in the league decided they were going to sit in against top. There's a level of humility you've got to have there, Frank.
We haven't really spoken about our January window on the podcast. Obviously, we did that space where it descended more into food talk than...
It descended into just about everything but the Swans, I'd argue. But
so for anyone who listens to that, this is where we do our actual Swans talk rather than talking about the best pizza and kebabs.
I think people
Swansea.
Enjoyed that more, though. I think we
still
could...
can't believe you said a Donna was better than a G-Ross, but anyway,
I'm just that for now. Big fan of a Donna.
What do you make of the window as a whole?
I think it was exactly what we expected, with a little sprinkle of a very good player who we've clearly identified in the past and wanted to bring in. I think the Joel Ward signing, we've talked about it enough, but maybe a little bit rogue. Why didn't we just sign him in the summer? I mean, he's been completely out of the game for 6 months, but he's looked okay when he's played. I don't think anyone can question that, and that just a bit of experience that we definitely needed when we lost Norton and Allen in the summer. Nunes looks okay. I think Vito Matos clearly rates him very highly. I don't know what you thought of him yesterday.
I like him. Yeah. I think he's clearly... Mm-hmm. I mean, he's kind of exactly what you expect from a loan, from a club who paid a fee for him, which is they've obviously just bought the talent, and you can see he's a very, very talented kid, but has a lot to learn. He's
very raw,
Yeah, I think what we kind of expected of him. And he made a difference yesterday, a couple of really bright spots.
Yeah.
And did look very bright against Watford, obviously.
I think he was tidy against Watford.
And I'd probably start him again next time out.
Yeah, I agree.
And as I say, he's just kind of got a lot to learn, but that's what this loan is for, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be raw, but it's one of them where it's exciting to watch a raw player sometimes, isn't it? Especially on the wing. I think if you're going to sign a player who is raw, then you sign them on the wing.
It's always fun to have a player who you don't know what's going to happen next, and they don't know what's going to happen next either.
Pretty much half the wingers we sign, to be fair. And then, Leo Walter, pronunciation is certainly down.
I say, do we know the pronunciation?
It's Leo Walter, obviously I did a lot of research on him for our reel, and he does look the real deal. I don't want to get ahead of myself saying that, but he just looks brilliant. He has one of the highest shot creations in Europe last season, I think, for under 23s. I think he was third, maybe. I think I mentioned in that he had a higher Y-Scout impact score than Lamine Yamal, which God knows what that truly means. But it was a bit of a nice hook. But he clearly looks the real deal. 16 goals last season, some brilliant goals. If you go watch them back, as I said earlier, some long range efforts, some just nice little finishes. He can take set pieces. He created something like 9.1 XA last season, only had 3 assists.
Really?
You'd have to imagine that his strikers are absolutely dire.
Well, they sold their centre forward before the start of last season. Salek.
Yeah.
We spoke to a couple of serious fans who said that they obviously had Salek the season before last and sold him last January, sold Walter this January, and all said Walter is a far, far better player. And we saw the impact Salek had on the Championship in the second half of last season. Yeah. So,
and it doesn't surprise me at all that he's a better player, because honestly, from watching him, he just looks superb. And I think he's one of them where it'll take a bit of time to come because he hasn't played football in 2 months. But when he gets firing, I think there's no going back. We've tied him down to a 4-year contract at the end of this season. anyone watching, it isn't actually a loan. You know, I've seen a lot of comments, people saying,
Well, it's only a loan,
yeah,
provided we stay in the division. Isn't it?
just for PSR reasons. And I mean, I've seen a lot of people in our comments saying, isn't it a loan, when I've said we've paid £3.5 million for him. But it's a very good signing. And
it's a loan if we stay in the division, but does that count if we go up, that clause? Or
I think it
was
you
just
might
basically
take it a bit too far.
It was protecting ourselves against relegation, essentially, wasn't it? Which,
Yeah.
I mean, that was obviously not a worry, but it will be done in the summer.
Yeah. And, you know, I think no matter how much time it takes, I think he will be a fantastic player, and a player that we've probably been missing for a long time, you know, a serious 10.
And a secondary goal scorer. I mean, we were talking before we started recording, a quick little plug for the Only Swans website, which we're going to be putting out a lot more content now. We've recruited some great writers. But I started writing a piece the other day, pre the signing of Leo Walter, of why do we not sign players who score goals? Because most of our attackers that we seem to have signed to play in forward areas, mainly out wide, haven't scored goals for their previous club, like like Ronald and what have you. And then we end up surprised when they don't score goals for us.
Yeah.
Yet with Walter, we've absolutely addressed that because we needed someone to shoulder the burden off Vippy. And in theory, based on his, you know, the amount he scored for Sirius, he should do that.
Yeah, I think he should do very well.
And the only thing I think potentially to consider is physicality. I think it will take him a little bit of time to get up to the physicality of the league. I mean, I didn't realise until he came on yesterday quite how small he is.
He's got a Dylan Shaw build, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. But at the same time, he you know, little players have succeeded in this league before. It doesn't worry me too much. It's
you
just
think Albright was little, you know?
Exactly. It's just whether it takes him a little bit of time to get used to being kicked a bit more. Because I'm not going to do the Allsvenskan down too much, but I reckon you probably get kicked a bit more in the Championship when you do that.
What do you think about us not actually going for a striker? Because we did loan out Bobby Wales in the end, obviously, who was apparently very good on Saturday.
He was apparently very good in his debut, yeah. I would have liked us to have kept him around, mainly because I don't know how much he'd have played here, but I fear how much he's going to play for Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Once the likes of Radulovic, Alfie May, Dion Charles is fit at the moment, Ryan Hardy as well, they signed on deadline day. Once they're all available, I struggle to see where he fits in.
How are they giving him minutes? Yeah.
And I think there's a world absolutely where he plays more football for us between now and the end of the season than he would have for Huddersfield. I mean, it doesn't seem like we did go in for a striker, so you've got to trust what the club are doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Vippy went down for any period of time, we'd be in big trouble. We don't have another striker at the club. I don't think Liam Cullen should be looked at as one.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's a risk, it's a gamble. But ultimately, if we did look at bringing in loan strikers in January, we wouldn't have been able to promise them that they'd have played.
No, that's the awkward thing, isn't it? It would have to be, you know, like a 16-year-old coming in or something like that.
I've seen a few people say, "Oh, it's all right, Eda'll be back soon."
I don't think he will be.
I don't know where people are getting this from. I think it's on SofaScore. It seems to suggest that he's going to be back in the next couple of weeks. I can absolutely assure anyone listening to this,
a 4-month
he will not be back for the next couple of weeks. He will. I would be absolutely stunned if he played again this
season. They might
season.
leave him out for the rest of the season, yeah.
I'm pretty confident he won't play again this season.
Which is mental, to be honest.
It's a shame, isn't it? It's a real shame.
And do you know what? I was enjoying watching him a little bit more just before he got injured. You know, that goal against Wrexham.
I mean, that was literally the final game he played before he got injured. It would have been nice to see if he could have kicked on from there.
And I think he might have, to be honest, because he had started scoring, and I think he just looked a lot better. Like, he'd sort of found his role. Like, his press was very good when he'd come on the pitch. He's got a lot of speed, and
he was really starting to get up to speed, and it is a real shame, the injury, and now... I mean, he is a player we could have used in the back half of this season.
Yeah, for sure.
He'd have definitely had a big role to play. Perhaps we wouldn't have seen quite so many goals from Vipotnik, but at the same time, perhaps he might have really stepped up and started scoring himself.
But I think he's still in an ideal situation because that place is his next year if Vipotnik goes, really. I think, you know, we sort of hang our hat in the £7 million striker we've bought, so...
yeah, you kind of have to hang your hat on him next
And
season.
then Bobby Wales is sort of just the second option. So I think it does all work itself out in the fact that
I can
both
see what
of them,
the plan is.
yeah,
I mean, we kind of just fell into Vipotnik being this good, didn't we? We
I think so.
clearly wanted to shop him in the summer.
yeah.
So no, the whole argument of, oh, I always thought he'd be this good, certain people are making, not even the club thought he'd be this
No.
good. It was only the fact he scored quite a few goals at the start of the season that meant he didn't go to Slovan Bratislava to play up front with Mick, which would have been fascinating to see.
That would have been brilliant.
I really have my doubts how that combination would have worked, but
That's such a rogue choice now. And just two big men up front together. Mick, possibly the biggest man I've seen. Like,
yeah, I'd completely forgotten about him. He got reminded to me yesterday. I was like, oh my God, we got rid of him this season.
learn how to pronounce his name for nothing.
Yeah, literally. Nikola Kukarevich.
Never forget him. Yeah,
I still can't believe he scored a goal, but crazy. Right, let's move on to some audience questions. Go on, and I'll ask you this one first. Had Matos been in charge for longer, where would we be in the league? And that's from Tim Kitchener on Twitter.
I think if he went in charge about maybe 4 or 5 games sooner, because that's probably when we were all definitely sort of the Chia needs to go. I think we'd probably, I'd say so.
Okay.
I think we'd probably be about 10th, maybe. I think we would be higher up in the league because I think he would have just had more time to work with this group, and we seem to get better every week he's working with them. So I think we would probably be sat about 10th in the league, and I think we'd be in an even better position than we are right now, which is mental to say, because I think we are in a brilliant position. You know, we haven't lost a home game in 7. So I'd say we'd probably be maybe about 2 points from the playoffs, something like that. I think we'd still be just away from the playoffs, but
I think we'd be right in amongst it. And I mean, a couple of those games that we played, just before Shia was sacked in that week. I mean, we went to Preston.
Yeah.
Which is a very tough place to go. Who's to say we would have won up there? We went to Charlton, might have won that. Ipswich down here, they look like a damn good side. So, I don't know. I mean, if he'd been here since the start of the season, it's a bit of a different story.
Question,
But ultimately, he would never have come across our desk at the start of the season, you'd imagine.
No, and I think he may have needed that experience in Maritimo anyway. So, it all worked out well in the end, and I think hopefully he's here for a long time, and I think that's what we all want.
Yeah, 100%.
I could definitely see him managing Liverpool one day.
Oh, we're going that far away.
I think he's got the Klopp gene. I'm going to be honest.
I love him. I think we've just stumbled across such a gem, and I do think it is stumbled a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think we expected it to go this well.
Yeah. He's brilliant. I mean, he's one of my favourite managers in years. You know, I tend to like most of our managers. I think Michael Duff's probably the only one in the last few years that I really haven't liked. But I think he's my favourite that we've had in the Championship. That's very early to say, but there's just something about him, isn't there? There's just I hate the word aura, but there just is. There's just
you think he's handsome.
No, there's just an aura around him, though, in there. There's something about... I don't think Vito Matos looks like my mate Sam. We'll give Sam a shout-out, I think he looks exactly like him, but he does just have an aura about him. The way he talks about the game is brilliant. The way we look on the pitch is brilliant. I think it's undeniable that he's clearly going to be a top coach.
Yeah, I think he's the biggest asset we have at the moment. I really do. I mean, we've got some, excellent players in Galbraith, Vipotnik, Tymon. I'm sure we could get a big fee for all of them.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it feels like the biggest asset we have is Vito Matos. And I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of the appointment originally. I thought it's a risk. It's a really big risk for where we were. And my God, has it paid off.
Yeah, I think it's the exact same as the Vipotnik conversation we've had where, anyone who says, I believed in that the second it came out, like, it was just blind optimism because you knew nothing about him. It was one of them where you had to wait and see what happened. But fair play,
Perhaps a bit of a sort of final nail in the coffin for the you need experience to do well in this league argument as a manager. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd argue probably the best manager over the last 2 seasons before this one in the league is Danny Rowe. He'd never managed before. Mm-hmm. And I just think he's a brilliant coach. And I see a bit of the that sort of level of progression in Matos. I really do.
Yeah, it's just those football cliches, and we need a manager with experience in the league, experience in taking teams up, that sort of thing.
And ultimately, those managers you bring in with experience will have experience of failure.
Yeah.
Whereas if you bring in a young coach who's done well, as Matos had before, or not had any experience but worked with, good top names, like obviously I'll use the Royal example again, worked with Hansi Flick with Germany and Bayern, then who's to say it won't go well? If they're good enough, then the experience doesn't necessarily matter.
100%. So next one's from Will Hughes on Twitter. Thoughts on Liam Cullen? Surely a bit part player now with Walter signing.
I mean, I like Cullen. I don't quite understand some of the negativity that always exists around him. I do agree with that he will probably play much less of a role now we've signed Walter and with Vidal in the building as well. I worry he is sort of slightly running out of road because he deserves to play regularly at this level. And for a club slightly below us, a Blackburn or something like that, who've been after him seemingly loads of times before, I'd choose that as an example, he would play regularly and I think deserves that. I just worry he's almost, just sort of running out of options to play, really. He's not a striker. It does him no favours playing up front because it just doesn't suit him. And as a 10, we've almost replaced him, but I like him as a mid-table to bottom-half championship player. If we have designs to push on, he isn't the type of player you'd want playing every week, I don't think.
No, maybe not. I think he's one of those players where you'll always have a role here just because he's dependable. Do you kind of know what you're getting from him? Like, there are plenty of points this season where Vidal has been just a completely different player to what I would describe him as. But Liam Cullen, he sort of always puts in the same sort of shift every week, no matter where he plays. He's a good presser. He's pretty decent on the ball. But I do see him probably moving on in the next few years just because at the end of the day, he's a Wales international. He's going to want to keep that place. Bellamy clearly quite likes him, but he's going to want him to be playing football. If I were him, I'd go to Scotland. I think he'd be one of the best players in the league in Scotland, to be honest.
Hearts or something.
Well, there were rumours of Celtic looking at him once, so
he's not. I don't think he's that level, but Hearts to replace Claudio Braga. Got an outside the box way of looking at it. From I'm sure Tony Bloom will find someone in the Norwegian second tier again to do that, but Cullen could be a good shout. But I think the fact he will need to be playing to keep his place in the national team, I think is going to start to play a bit more of a role in his decision making, because ultimately he needs to will need to work out what his priorities are. Is it being a bit part player for Swansea City, or is it being a Welsh international? And to keep the second one, he might have to move on, I fear.
Yeah.
And I think that will be a shame because he's a player who's scored quite a few goals for us, given us some really good moments. I mean, mainly against Cardiff, let's be honest.
And he's played nearly 200 games for us. Like that's a lot. And
I just never understood the narrative around him. People just don't like him, and I really don't get why.
It's a shame because, like, ultimately, I think this fan base can be a bit toxic on it. I think we all know that, but I think there's something about academy graduates for some reason that our fans just don't like, and I don't know what it is, because it should be the opposite, really, because they are just, especially him, he's just like us. He's just a fan who actually made it, sort of thing. He's sort of living every Swansea fan's dream. But it's been the same with Ben Cabango. I think it's been the same with Ollie Cooper in the past. I remember it being the same with Connor Roberts at points when he got dropped for Norton. There's just for some reason, a lot of our fans have an issue with academy graduates.
Just hold them to a higher standard, almost, I think, than everyone else.
And I think it's pretty obvious what Cullen is and what I don't think many people have ever claimed for him to be more than he is. So I think he's played important roles. He scored a good amount of goals in the Championship on many occasions. He's been our top scorer one season. I think he's played an important role, and ultimately, without him last season, the season before, we may not even be in this league.
Yeah.
So
It's just and the fact we have these players who we think who can help us take the next step, like
Yeah.
Walter, then you almost thank the ones who've kept us around, like
Yeah.
you have he did the past couple of seasons. No, I got a lot of time for him. I don't understand a lot of the narrative around him, but if someone like Walter is going to come in and take us to the next level, then perhaps he'll see moving on as the best thing for his career.
Maybe so.
So the next one I've got here is from Harvey on Twitter, which is, what clear difference do you see in the way we play since Matos came in? So I want you to put your tactical head on you.
Well, I think we've already discussed about how much better we are from set pieces to begin with. I think that's a massive difference the last few years. It kind of feels like every time we win a corner, it's a bit pointless. Do you know, an away end loves a cheer for a corner, don't they? I don't think we would have been cheering in the last few years. But now it's a bit of a different story. We're far better from set pieces. Excuse the... So
learn English, or
maybe so. I think our press is far better too. We also talked about how Vipotnik sort of leads the press. Now he's made our players a lot fitter, I feel, to be able to actually, which is weird because Sheehan spoke so much about sort of how good we'd be off the ball, but Matos has seemed to achieve that in just a matter of months.
It's the classic first cliche when a new manager comes in is, I need to make the players fitter.
Yeah.
But I mean, most managers, you just don't see that. You just see the same, same levels. But he has made them a lot fitter.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be honest, at the start of the season, Franco looked so unfit.
I'm not necessarily sure that was all Sheehan's fault. I
maybe
think
no.
You can put that down to Ibiza, but
maybe. But he did look so unfit at the start of the season. I remember watching him at Middlesbrough and thinking, like, what the fuck has happened to him? But the last few weeks especially, he's looked brilliant. He looks so much fitter. He can run around all game again. I think that's the story with a lot of players. And I think we're a bit more pragmatic in a way, in the fact we're just better at being pragmatic. So we can score a goal where we make 19 passes before we put it in the back of the net, but we can also play a quick ball out wide and try whip one in for a goal. Like, I think we look a lot better in our play overall.
No, I agree, and just he's kind of created what Pep Lijnders wanted to create at Salzburg, isn't it? In terms of a team who counter presses brilliantly, but also keeps the ball, which I didn't think would be possible with a team at this level. But he's created a way of playing that seems almost foolproof at the moment.
Yeah, and I think he's just the roles he's given some of the players. I mean, allowing Galbraith to just move across the pitch no matter what is just added a new element to our game, because how do you defend that? 1 minute our right back's on the right side of the field, the next minute he's in Tymon's possession.
Yeah, and he's just got an infectious personality, isn't he, Matos? I don't think we can praise him high enough.
No, we can't keep. I could wax lyrical about him all day. He's just excellent. As we've said, I think he'll go on to be a top coach, and
I agree.
There isn't really a much better bloke. I think he is quite clearly a fantastic guy as well, which it's good. Final question for you. Not long ago, who's it from? Andy Wins.
You're struggling to read my writing.
I know what the question is because I read it on Twitter, but your handwriting is so bad. But Andy, I assume that is, asks, not long ago you suggested we be in League One before the Premier League. Do you still share that view?
I really don't know. I really don't. In terms of if Matos was to be poached at the end of the season, who's to say we'd get it right again? If he is here for a while yet and we keep recruiting people like Galbraith and hopefully on paper Leo Volta and Vipotnik and Tymon, then why not the Premier League?
Yeah.
I really don't know. I wouldn't want
I
to
think
put
you
money
should
on
also clarify that this is sort of a view you've held for years. This isn't something that you've just said because of a specific manager or player or group of players. You have said this for maybe 3-4 years.
I said it the day we lost at Wembley under Cooper. I said to my dad in the car on the way home, I said, we'll play League One football before we play Premier League football now, because that felt like, now or never sort of vibe. But I'm really not sure. This is probably the most unsure I've been of that statement for years, which is just a brilliant...
It's testament.
Brilliant, testament to where we are as a club right now. and it's just hard not to be hopeful, really.
It is.
And, yeah, so what? We'll play Premier League football before we'll play in League One, because why not be hopeful? Even
Exactly.
if it's blind faith. It's worked for Vipotnik.
I replied to someone on Facebook the other day. I said, from now on this platform, I'm literally going to only spread positivity because I'm so fed up of negativity. You know, I think like there's so much more doom than gloom supporting this club. Like you look at stuff on Twitter, you look at stuff on Facebook, and maybe that's not the whole picture. Maybe social media is just a bubble, but the amount of crap you read all the time of people just moaning, it's just nice to see us winning again, especially at home. You know,
we have had a couple of crap years.
Yeah, we have.
So enjoy the ride while it's good.
Exactly. You know, and I mean, we've got a great coach. I think we've got some brilliant players. I think this is like the most exciting sort of group of multiple players we've had. You know, we have a striker who's just banging them in for fun. We have a left back who is absolutely brilliant. We have Galbraith, who's just such a luxury player. Our goalkeeper's brilliant. You know, like it's just such a fun group of players.
I still think we are weak in a couple of areas, but
I
that's
do agree.
made up for by being
so
strong
in
certain
others.
areas.
100%.
Yeah, an unusually positive episode today. Hopefully, long may this continue. I'm sure we'll have picked up 1 point from the 9 available after the next.
We've jinxed us.
Back down into mid-table and we'll be going, oh, God, remember that. But no, let's be positive. We'll be back here in 2 weeks' time when we're even more in amongst the playoff mix.
Yeah, I agree with that. As always, we appreciate you all for watching, and we'll see you on the bet. Bye.